Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Noah, and in this video I am going to help you create a completely free financial planner for the entire year of 2025. I'm going to walk through the entire process with you start to finish, so hopefully by the end of the video you have a good plan for 2025 when it comes to your finances. With all of that being said, let's not waste any more time and jump right into the video. So here we are in Excel. I don't think I've made an Excel video in some time, but for you, this is going to be free, right? And I know Excel is, it can be free, as you can see by my cheapo watermark right here, meaning I didn't pay for it. But for those of you viewers that do not want to, mess around with trying to get Excel or anything on your computer, this can be done in Google Sheets as well. And if you have a YouTube account, right, you probably have access to Google Sheets, right? Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be here watching this video. So this is can be done basically one-to-one within Google Sheets. We're not going to use any kind of advanced macros or anything like that. So this can be, you can basically do exactly what I'm doing, but in Google Sheets. So the first thing that we are going to do is we want to make things really easy to see, right? So we're going to select everything. This is going to be, it's going to change the size of the entire, celled area, and we're going to make it 28, right? 28 is going to be a good number for us to start with here. Now that we have the cells in the right size that we want them in, we're going to start adding some text, so you can follow along right with me here. The first thing that is very important to know when you're making any kind of financial plan or a budget or anything like that is how much money is coming in. This is kind of where I like to start. When I'm helping other individuals, when I'm doing it for myself or whatever it is, you need to know how much money is going to be coming in. So the first area, in the first cell A1, I would do something like buy weekly income, right? Because we all have, for the most part, this is pretty much a standard, right? Having a check, every other week. So once you have that typed, you can click on that cell and you're going to hit the enter key 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to type monthly income. It's important to obviously know the monthly income as well, because we're going to kind of look at the entire year as a whole. Now from this cell, you're going to do the enter key 3 times again, 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to type in monthly remaining, if I can spell it. I can't spell remaining. You're going to type in monthly remaining. And now from this cell, you're going to do the enter key 3 times again, 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to do yearly income. And then from here, 1, 2, 3 again, and you're going to do yearly remaining. And I did spell it right this time. So now that we've created a section to keep track of the money coming in through our income, we need to make a section that's going to keep track of the money going out, right? These are through our expenses. So if you're in cell A1 like this, you can click the right key twice, 1, 2. It should put you in cell C1, and here we want to put something like essential. And then after you've typed that, you can click enter once, and then you're going to type in expense, and then you're going to click the right key once, and then you're going to type in amount. Next, we're going to create a spot for our non-essential expenses. So what you're going to do, if you're in cell, the essential cell, you're going to click the right key 1, 2, 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to type in non-essential. And then from this cell, you basically want to do the expense and amount section again. So you can copy and paste it, or you can type it basically to kind of mimic the look that we had with the essential expenses. Another aspect to finance in general, right, is your basically security planning, retirement planning, and so on. So we are going to add a section here to keep track of the amount that we are saving and investing. So from the non-essential box, this should be F1. You can do the right key another 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and you can type in something like saving / investing. And then of course do the expense and amount again. You can just copy it and paste it right under. So now there's just one more section that we need to add, and I am going to call this extra. So you can from saving / investing, 3 clicks to the right, and you can just type in extra, and then of course do copy and paste over the expense and amount as well. So at this point, your sheet, your dashboard should look a little something like this, right? We haven't done anything crazy yet. We haven't done any kind of formulas or put any numbers in at this point, and we're going to get into that in a second, but you can kind of just take a look at this and make sure that your sheet aligns with what I have right here. So now we are going to start using our first formulas, and they're going to be really simple. So if you're not too savvy on Excel or Google Sheets, I mean, they're very, very simple formulas. You can just follow exactly what I do. Start an amount right here, basically in column D, D2, go all the way down to your last box right here. It should be, you know, in row 23 or somewhere around there. You're going to type in equals SUM, hit tab, and then you're going to use your cursor, click, hold, drag, and then drag it all the way down, and then enter. And it should be 0, right? Because there's nothing there. Now you can check your, you can check to see if your formula works. You can put a 1 up here, and then put a 1 right above the last cell, and it should, you know, they should add the 2 of them for a total of 2, in which case you know that you've done your formula correctly. But now that we've done that formula just once, we can actually just copy it, and we're going to put it in the last cell in each amount column, right? So we did it first in D. Now you're going to go to G and put it there as well. You're going to go to J, put it in the last cell as well, and then you're going to go to M finally in the end, and then put it there as well. So the next formula that we're going to put in is going to be right here under monthly income. So I want to have you put 2,500 right under bi-weekly income to start. This will allow you to kind of confirm that your formula is right. And then you're going to go into the cell right under monthly income. You're going to hit equals. You're going to do the 2,500 that you just typed in under biweekly income. You're going to hit the Control 8 or Control star. It's basically times 26, assuming that you have 26 pay periods within a year. This is a very standard amount biweekly. And then you're going to divide that by 12. So you're going to hit the dash, the backwards dash 12, and then you're going to get this 5416, you know, decimal. Click on that number and then click on the $sign, and you can get rid of some of the extra decimal points. It just makes it a little bit more clean to look at. You should have 5417, $5,417, which is basically looking at what your bi-weekly income is and looking at what it would be like with 26 pay periods per year. Now, before we go any further, I do want to clarify that you need to, when you're setting this up for yourself, you need to use your actual take-home money, right? Don't be doing this if, you know, with the amount your income that you think you're going to have, or that is kind of promised on your contract or whatever it is. You actually need to know what your pay stubs are going to look like, so you can actually use your take-home income. So this 2,500 would be the amount that you take home after taxes, after deductions, after health insurance and everything. That is the only way that this budgeting planner, this dashboard, is actually going to work for you. So now you're going to move into the cell underneath yearly income, and you're going to basically click equals the monthly income, right? The 5417. You're going to do the Control 8 or multiply times 12. And that's going to give you $65,000, and that's going to be the amount of money that you're going to take home on a yearly basis. Okay, so now we're going to get into a little bit more complicated formulas to complete this dashboard, but don't worry, they're not too complicated, and I'm going to walk you through both of them here. So if you want to make your way towards the cell that is underneath monthly remaining right here, here's what you're going to type. You're going to type equals monthly income, the 5417, minus SUM, tab, and then you're going to select this box right here, this 0, you're going to hit comma, you're going to hit this, you're going to select this cell, comma, and then you're going to hit this cell, and then close bracket, close parentheses, pardon me. Please note that you're not going to click this this cell right here. That's going to be separate. So after that, you can click enter, and you're still going to have 5417 because there's no expenses in here. If we want to test to make sure that this is correct, you can go up to the first box here. You can type in 1000 in the amount under the essential category, and you can actually just copy that and paste that over to these other cells here, and the remaining total that you should be left with now is $2,417. So if you do that, and your amount matches 2,417, then your formula is correct. Now we are going to move into the final formula. We're almost there. We're almost done with formulas, but after we're done with this, we should be good for the rest of our planner here. So you're going to go into the cell underneath yearly remaining. You're going to type in equals. You're going to click 65,000 for your yearly income right here, minus SUM again, hit tab. And then you're going to do kind of the same thing, except this time you're going to add something at the very end. So you're going to hit this cell, comma, this cell, comma, this cell, comma, or actually, pardon me, no comma there at the end. Close your parentheses, and then here things are going to get a little bit different. You're going to hit Control or Shift 8, so that's going to be the multiply sign. 12, right? So basically this is saying subtract 65,000 or subtract the sum of this cell, this cell, this cell times 12 from $65,000, which is going to give us our remaining yearly income. Now, if you want to check this formula as well, you can actually go back up to amount, type in 1,000 again, and just copy it and put it into the other cells, and you should be left with a yearly remaining amount of $29,000. This basically means that if you had $1,000 in each category per month, right? So $3,000 per month times 12. Your yearly remaining income, right? The amount of money that you have left over from a $65,000 salary is going to be $29,000. So if you have $29,000 there, using that quick test, your formulas are correct. So now this is actually where things get pretty fun, because we can actually start incorporating our expenses into this dashboard to see what our overall financial situation is going to look like. Now, everything's going to be different for different individuals, right? But I am going to stick with a biweekly income of $2,500 for a monthly income of $5,417. You can change this to whatever your income is, but like I said, it needs to be consistent, right? So this the amount of money that you put in here in your bi-weekly income cell needs to be what you're actually taking home, assuming that you're paid every other week and you have 26 pay periods for the entire year. So we can just really get into it. I'm going to kind of put some generic things into the dashboard that I start filling out here just for the sake of brevity, but let's start with essential expenses, right? We should always start with our essential expenses. So the first thing that I can think of probably is rent, right? You have rent, you have your water bill, your electric bill, you have Wi-Fi, maybe you have a car payment, you have car insurance. What else would we have here? We would have food, right? You have to eat. That is no question. And maybe you have gasoline. Now, of course, these are just random things that I came up with. I think a decent amount of people are actually going to have more essential expenses, which you can, of course, add in up until this point, right? You can't keep going down and down and down. Otherwise, the formula is not going to pick it up. So you're going to have to kind of condense in here as best as you can. But let's kind of make up some numbers here. Let's say your rent is $1,500. Maybe your water is $100. Maybe your electric is $150. Maybe your Wi-Fi is $100. Maybe you have good internet. Your car payment, maybe you have a decent car, it's $430, right? Your car insurance, maybe let's say it's $80 a month. Food, maybe you like to eat, right? So maybe you spend about $125 a week, which is pretty easy if I'm being honest with you. So $500 per month. And then gasoline, maybe you spend maybe you spend $150 per month on gas. The other important thing that I do want to add quickly is that when you are entering amounts, this dashboard specifically is really meant to calculate things on a monthly basis. So, if you spend, 100 a week on food, just multiply it by 4, right, to get the rough estimate for what you're going to spend per month. So as you can see at the bottom here, we have a grand total of just over $3,000, which is what our essential expenses in this made up example are going to cost us every single month. And if you peer over to the left, in the monthly remaining, it shows that we have a remaining amount of liquid, money of $2,400, which can be spread around to our non-essentials, our saving and investing, and so on. So now that we have our essential expenses kind of laid out to see how much everything's going to cost on a monthly basis, I think it makes the most sense to move into the next category, which you might think is non-essential, but I think it might be beneficial for you to look at the saving and investing area, because obviously essential expenses are very, very important. You're not going to make it too far without them, but it is also important to ensure that you have kind of a security blanket and you're planning for the future and so on. So let's assume that maybe you have a high yield savings account, right? An HYSA, and each month you want to put $500 in that bank account. You also maybe have a Roth IRA that you want to contribute to for the next year, right? Maybe you have a 401k through your work and you want to do your Roth IRA through a different financial institution. That's completely fine. And in that account, maybe you want to put $500 as well. So this total for saving and investing is going to be $1,000, right? Naturally, because it's 500 plus 500. If we look over to the left side, now our monthly remaining balance is $1,407, which is what we have left over to kind of divvy out between all of our non-essential expenses that we might have. And this, of course, is probably the most fun part, right? Because non-essential expenses are generally our fun expenses, right? Rent isn't necessarily fun to transfer $1,500 a month, but going out maybe for dinners, right? Dinners are fun. Maybe we want just entertainment, or maybe we should call it going out, right? Going out expenses. People like to go out for downtown, on Fridays and Saturdays with friends. It's completely fine. We should keep it in there. Maybe you have some subscriptions, right? So Netflix, right? Netflix is a huge one that millions of people have, right? It's always going to be there. And maybe you have maybe you have HBO or something like that, right? HBO has some good stuff. Maybe you know that every single month there are miscellaneous expenses that come up for this, for that, for him, for her, whatever it is. And we want to include that in there. So we are going to put a miscellaneous section in our in this non-essential category as well. So now, of course, assuming that these are all of your non-essential expenses, we can start putting some amounts to them. So maybe every single month you want to spend, I don't know, maybe you want to spend $300 on going out for dinners and so on. Now, going out, right? Actual entertainment, maybe that's a little bit less. Maybe that's like $250 a month. Netflix, maybe you have the good membership. I personally don't know how much they are at this point. I'm just going to say $20. I'm probably wrong. HBO is probably another 20 as well, and maybe miscellaneous is 200 or something like that. So before we look at any numbers, right, before I get into the analysis of what's going on in this dashboard and what this budget is actually going to look like, assuming that this is your actual budget, we want to start moving to the extra category right here. So we all have other things that come up in throughout the year, right? You can probably, look at this budget here and say, well, there's no birthday gifts, right, for friends and family and so on. And of course, with the holidays coming around, there's no Christmas. There's no expenses put away for Christmas gifts. So these are expenses that are going to be there, but it's kind of hard to put them on a monthly basis because there's not Christmas every single month, right? As much as we would like that, that's not generally the case. And we also have different things that we like to buy for ourselves, right? Maybe in 2025, you want to buy yourself a new computer or a new snowboard or a new phone or, anything, right? A new camera, whatever it may be. It's good to kind of think about that ahead of time to kind of plan your budget around that. So that's what we're going to put in there. I think where we should start Christmas gifts, right? So we want to designate a certain amount for Christmas gifts for 2025, basically a whole year early. We also know that there are going to be birthdays for friends and family, so we want to put that in there. Maybe we want to go on a trip, right? So trip A, maybe we want to go on another trip B. And we want that new computer, right? A new computer, and we also want a new shoes, something like that. And of course, now we can start putting in amounts, right? So how much do you want to spend on Christmas for gifts? Maybe this is 500. For birthdays throughout the year, maybe you like to go all out on birthdays, so maybe this is 1,000, right? Because there's maybe other expenses that go into celebrating birthdays, not just the gifts, and you don't want your that money coming out of your going out for that month. For trip A, maybe you want to go to Scotland or something. Maybe that trip is going to be 1,500. I don't know, right? I'd have to look into it. Maybe trip B is going to be a little bit more expensive. That one's $2,000. A new computer, maybe that's $2,000. And new shoes, that's going to be $200 or something like that. So now at this point, we can actually start looking into some of the interesting things that we're going to see with this budget. So now that we've actually put in everything that we want, and that's why I said it's so important for you to actually sit down for a decent amount of time and thoroughly enter everything as much as you can, right? You want to be at least 95% confident that you have everything that you're going to spend money on for the entire year, because it's going to help you kind of go about 2025 or whatever year you're trying to plan your finances for. So the important thing that we need to take away from this entire dashboard is this amount right here. This yearly remaining amount, $7,400, basically means that after all of your essential, non-essential, and saving and investing goals, if they are met exactly like this every single month, you are going to have a surplus at the end of the year of $7,400. Now, the reason this amount is so important is because we need to consider the extra expenses that we just entered in, right? The ones that are difficult to incorporate on a monthly basis, right? Like I said, we don't have birthdays every single month, or at least I think people don't want to celebrate birthdays every single month. But the important thing to look at is down here. $7,200 is what your extra expenses are going to cost. Your Christmas gifts, your birthday presents, your 2 trips, your new computer, and your new shoes are going to cost $7,200. Now, if you compare 7,200 and 7,400, right? These are pretty close, right? So this means that you are basically going to have a surplus of $200 at the end of the year, assuming that your budget sticks exactly to what you have set up here, which on the surface might sound not that good, right? You're probably thinking, oh, $200, I'm not doing that well at that point, right? But we need to look at what our expenses are going to, right? We are putting away $500 into a high yield savings account every single month, right? That's a decent amount of money per year. And we're also investing $500 into a Roth IRA as well. So when you actually look at it, that $200 is pretty decent, right? It means we have leftover money on top of the money that we're already saving. Now, one thing, before you do this budget and you get all excited, is that things don't go how we plan, right? No matter how in-depth your budget is here, there are always things that are going to come up. One thing that I can immediately see from this budget is that there's no section for car maintenance, right? This person has a vehicle in this fictitious example. Things go wrong all the time, right? What about an oil change? You need to do an oil change every single year, and I don't have that in here. Oil changes can be like $100, $150. So, my point is that use this dashboard to really think about, what your expenses are going to look like for the next year, but plan on them not going exactly according to plan. And that's why I said it's so important to really sit down for, a prolonged period of time, either if you're doing your finances for yourself, or if you're doing them, with your significant other, your husband, wife, whatever it is. Really sit down together and brainstorm about all of the different areas the things that you want to buy, the things that are going to need your financial attention, so you can put them in this dashboard as early as possible to get a pretty clear picture of what your next year of finances are going to look like. But there you go. That is going to conclude this tutorial. I know it went on a little bit longer than I would have liked to, but I wanted to make sure that everything was flushed out. I followed so many tutorials on YouTube where the person kind of instructing just flew through everything and they forgot things and things were missed and so on. And I wanted to make sure that I did a decent job explaining, how this dashboard works, how you can enter things in, and what numbers you really need to look at to paint a solid picture for your next year of finances. But of course, if you have any feedback on this dashboard, or if you have any questions for me personally, please let me know in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts. And as always, if you've stuck along this far in the video, I want to thank you so much for your time. I do hope that this dashboard can provide value to you in the same way that it has provided value to me. Thanks again for tuning in, and I hope to see you again sometime soon.